On the agenda tonight, we're going back to the early 60s. We're going to be taking a look at the Springfields, and they're going to be performing Island of Dreams. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So this performance is quite a short one, just under 2.5 minutes I think, so we'll watch it the whole way through and then we'll get into the analysis. On screen we will have the pitch monitoring software as well. Because there's more than one voice going on here, it does get a little bit confused, but it's good to focus in on when we're listening to Dusty Springfield's voice. As always, there's a link in the description below just in case you guys want to watch it multiple times, but let's jump into it and see how they get on.
A song which we're very happy is a hit for us in England, and we hope you like it. It's called Island of Dreams.
I wander the streets and the gay, crowded places, trying to forget you, but somehow it seems I'm not love's ever stray to our last sweet embraces over the sea on the island of dreams. High in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you, far, far away from the mad rushing crowd. Please carry me with you. Again I would wonder where memories would pull me, there on the beautiful island of dreams. High in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you, far, far away from the mad rushing crowd. Please carry me with you. Again I would wonder where memories would pull me, there on the beautiful island of dreams, far, far away on the island of dreams.
And there we have it. What a great live performance. And there is so much here that, because it's so good, it will fly under the radar just exactly what's going on. Because we start out this song with Tom Springfield on the 12-string guitar. And obviously Dusty is introducing the song, but he just goes straight in with his rhythm. And it is so seamless the way that the band joins in. And I mean, it's, you know, at the point where me pointing it out, you might not even realise that there's bass and there's drums and there's a little bit of piano there low in the mix. We've obviously still got the 2 guitars going on and the 3 voices. But it is just a seamless transition to the beginning of the song, which is just 1 guitar, to the other instruments just coming in and you not noticing them. And that is so difficult to do, to have that smooth transition without it suddenly sounding like, oh, where's that drummer come from? And, oh, where's that bass come from? And, you know, it's just a great mix here. Another thing is that when we're talking about the mix, I've mentioned in lots of videos before how when playing guitar, you know, and bands that we've been looking at might have multiple guitarists in there and they might just affect the volume on their guitars just to bring it down a little bit, maybe get a little bit of a crunchier sound or a cleaner sound, but they're effectively adjusting their dynamics on the fly. And this is exactly what we get here, but this isn't a case of turning down the guitars. Because we've got a 6-string and a 12-string, you can hear them clearly and more clearly when we've got the harmony vocals coming on because they're closer to the microphone. There's only one microphone here. So again, just top level professionalism that they've just got one mic, that's all they need. But there's so much thought and preparation and appreciation of dynamic range that's gone into this performance, because we start out with what sounds like the chorus, because we've got all the voices involved, the band gets involved as well. And as soon as we get to the section where Dusty's now taking that lead vocal, there's no harmonies, the guitars now move away from the mic to make it sound like it's more of a verse. And this is what you get in songs that have been fully mixed and produced in the studio. This is exactly what happens, but this is the live application of those studio techniques of moving away from the only mic they've got. This isn't the guy at the mixer, turning down levels here. This is all controlled by the artists on stage. And with this performance, it makes the verse and the chorus sound different. And yeah, you can argue that part, where I know some people would class it as a middle eight, but it is difficult to label exactly what it is, because it does sound like a verse, because everything comes down, because the guitar's moving away from the mic. So these tiny details that are just great, because it means now we get to focus on Dusty's voice. It is now more up front because those guitars have moved out the way. And as anybody who's in a band will know, that the guitars, they live in the same space frequency wise of the human voice. So it means that guitars are always competing with the human voice. If you move your guitars away from the microphone, there's less competition for the voice and where Dusty's vocal sits and the pitch and the frequencies of those pitches that she's hitting, and we can see those on screen as well. That's the other great thing about having the pitch monitoring software on screen. We can see how accurate Dusty is and just how consistent her vibrato is. I mean, it's just a really nice voice, not only to listen to, but to look at. So let's jump into that section where we'll be able to hear Dusty's voice more clearly now, because I have isolated so I can take down the backing, and we can look at the pitch monitoring software as well. I know that I have a video already on Dusty Springfield that you guys can check out if you want to independently, but let's have a listen.
High in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you.
And this is the great thing about her voice, that in her lower register she's still got that really thick sound. It doesn't go breathy. And I mean, looking at the pitch monitoring software here, like I said, it is really nice just to look at because of the consistency of her vibrato. Look at this, the same frequency, the same little wobble that we get of pitch, and G-sharp 4 bang on here. Pitch wise, it just sounds pitch perfect because it is. But we'll have another listen to that lower part of her voice.
High in the sky.
So here we're high in the sky. A little bit of air in there.
Is a bird.
And listen to the way that she goes down into her chest voice and now takes all of the air out of the sound.
On the wing.
And then a little bit lighter at the top there, and we can see again that A-sharp 4 bang on vibrato, and it just tails off at the end. But all of these vocals, like the G-sharp 4 here before, just bang on, and you can hear that, but it's great to look at the vocal waves on screen. So we'll jump back into it from the beginning so that we can see Tom starting on the 12 string and the rest of the band listen out for them.
A song which we're very happy is a hit for us in England. We hope you like it. It's called Island of Dreams.
And we're so subtle with that accompaniment that comes in. So just great work by the musicians in the background, but great work by these musicians on screen, because their vocals are just spot on as well. When we do get rid of the backing, I'll just take it down actually, and we'll just listen to these vocals.
Near the streets and the gay crowded places, trying to forget you, but somehow it seems my thoughts ever stray to our last sweet embraces.
I mean, it's just top level vocals. The way that they're harmonizing with each other, but their intervals, their pitch, it is faultless, and this was just a sign of the times, really. And unbelievably, I think this was probably taken for granted back in the 60s, that so many musicians and artists and just instrumentalists as well were at such a high level that it was the norm, that you could just tune into a TV show and see this kind of thing, which definitely isn't the norm now. So I think it's the reason for the popularity of, very old performances now being watched a lot on YouTube and being reacted to as well, because we don't really get this nowadays, having 3 musicians. And when I say musicians, I'm talking about, playing instruments and singing, and having a vocalist that takes on the lead role, like Dusty Springfield here, just being so great. And when I'm talking about Dusty Springfield having that lead vocal, Tom Springfield on the right-hand side of the shot here playing the 12-string, after this, he would, 1963, I think Dusty then started her solo career. After this, he then worked with the Seekers, and he was a songwriter, their producer as well. When we're now thinking about the Seekers and Judith Durham and her voice, her lead ability, it's a similar thing that we've got here. She's taking on that lead vocal, has such a strong lead vocal that it really demands your attention, just top level vocal ability, but then having the backing harmonies coming from male voices. So we do really get a taste of that sound here. Just while I'm talking about Tom Springfield, I have to mention his songwriting, and that's why I've got the guitar out here, because as soon as we start this song, we are straight into it. We're not hanging around here. So we've got this instant change because we've got this E flat that we start with, but the melody stays on the E flat, but we add in the 7th. So we've got that na, 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 na. Really nice. And then what do we go down to? Maybe an F, C, D, G, D, G7th. So that's a bit of a busking version. I'm not sure whether those are the chords exactly, but this is the point that in this composition, Tom has written it with so many chord changes and such melody as well, that you're always interested, because we're not just hanging on one chord for a long amount of time. As you would have seen there when I was changing the chords, it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, change, 2, 3, 4, change, 2, 3, 4, change. We're just spending 1 bar on each chord. So when we look at the amount of time it takes just to get through this song as well, being, 2.5 minutes? Less than that? So you've got all of this going on. You've got different sections where we then get Dusty just having that lead vocal. So it's just packed full of interest. The thing was that once you've heard a song, and there's been so much in it, and it's only lasted 2.5 minutes, you've got to listen to it again, because even though it was short, there's too much information, and you just know, oh wow, that was great, let me listen to it again. And the more you listen to it, the more you appreciate it. As we're just busking our way through it on the guitar, I want to point out this change as well to that D flat, which is so cool because it takes you by surprise, and it gives you a definite full stop to where we have what you might consider the chorus, now getting into this section where Dusty's going to be taking that lead vocal and the dynamics drop down. Let's have a listen.
High in the sky.
So it's that straight into that D flat, into the G,
Is a bird on the wing.
and into the C, again just calling out the shapes here, into the E minor,
Please
F,
carry me.
C, or hang on that moment. Yeah, C, D flat again,
With you.
G. So those are our chords. Yeah, I think. But just kind of going through there, look at the chord changes as well, just in this tiny section, and the melody that's going to be over the top. We're not singing loads and loads and loads of notes here. This is the point, that we have this lead voice, and when we're looking at the pitch monitoring software, you can see how we are hitting notes. We're hitting consistent notes. I mean, just pitch-wise is bang on, but consistently holding notes with vibrato. So it means that when we've got our first chord, like that, we've got a slow melody over the top, because if the melody was too fast and we were changing notes all the time, the chords are changing notes, well, changing chords all the time. So it means that it's going to be too much information for the brain. If the chords are changing quickly, you want a nice, smooth, slow melody, ideally with Dusty Springfield's voice, if you can get it. But I think it's important just to mention Tom's songwriting ability, and I mean, just in general, I mean, the Springfields Say I Won't Be There, that was their song that got to number 5 here in the UK, was a huge hit. But then over in the USA, Silver Threads and Golden Needles, that got to number 20 in the charts over in the USA, which made the Springfields the first group to have a top 20 single in the charts over there. So really breaking new ground, but like I've already said, they went their separate ways in 1963, and when you then follow Tom's career, some of the songs that he wrote, I'll Never Find Another You, that was a number 1 hit here in the UK, A World of Our Own as well, The Carnival Is Over, which by the way sold over 1 million copies, Walk With Me, Georgie Girl. I mean, Georgie Girl was another massive hit. I mean, that was a big hit here, but also got to number 2 over in the USA. That was co-written actually with Jim Dale. But just huge success, and you can really get a vibe of that kind of sound in this performance. It's really interesting to see. But just a great performance here, and just one microphone, and pretty much talented musicians and singers, all they need is one microphone. Basically make whatever they're doing louder and it's going to sound great, and it certainly does here. But thank you guys for requesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those requests coming in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!